What's up, grinders? Welcome back to the channel. Now, something I've spoken about a lot on this channel is the grind. Obviously, that's how I literally introduced the channel. It's, the fact that you gotta go every day and do something with the language to make progression. However, people always obviously ask me, what's the most effective way to learn a language? And I've spoken about methods many times on this channel, but realistically, I believe at the end of the day, apart from the consistency thing, the other thing that helps you get there faster than any specific method is actually having a goal to work towards. Now, this video is not going to be for those who are, they're not really goal-orientated people. They're kind of like, just sit there and do their thing, watch some content. I just noticed I'm a little bit off center, so let me just move this camera. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. So I want to talk towards those who do want to set goals and use this to help them effectively progress in their language. Because if you've been following me as of recently, I launched a Chinese YouTube channel. I've dropped 3 videos in total over there. 2 of them are gaming videos, and it's me playing video games in Chinese. Now, this seems kind of strange. Why would I want to play video games in Chinese? Well, in fact, the games are in English, but I speak in Chinese. And it's because it's part of my master plan, my ultimate goal to become as fluent as I possibly can in this language. See, when I set out to learn a language, I don't want to be like an A1, A2 hyper polyglot on YouTube who's out there to impress the locals and do shit like that. That's not me, okay? I want to absolutely master, rule a language, become fucking the Voldemort of language speakers, I don't even know what that fucking means. But anyway, you get what I'm saying. It's like, I want to get really, really good at a language. So that's what I did with Esperanto. I got really, really good at it, and then I moved on, okay? And now I'm doing this with Chinese. But in order to get good at something as big as a language, it's too much just to say as a goal that I want to learn X language. Like, you think about it, okay, when it comes to, say, Chinese. Let's say my goal is I want to learn Chinese, which at the end of the day, that's everyone's goal, right? We all want to learn Chinese, but it's still too big of a goal because what does that even mean? Well, that means I want to order at a restaurant. I want to discuss quantum physics. I want to watch news reports. I want to friggin' write books. Like, it's too big of a task. And when you think about how long it takes to learn a language, just look at people in general. How long do they spend learning a language? Their entire goddamn lives. Like, people, we're born, we start learning a language, and until the day we die, we are constantly learning that language. Now, obviously, we reach a point of fluency a lot earlier on, and we're just, like, adding layers and words on top of that and cultural enrichment and shit. But, like, still, when you think about it, it's too big of a goal overall. So you got to set an insane goal. Okay, give yourself an insane goal, but it's actually an actionable insane goal. So let's scrap the goal of I want to learn X language. Instead, let's think about what is something that I definitely want to be able to 100% do with this language that is also something I can work towards. It narrows down the field of what I need to do with this language. Now, for me, it is basically to play video games and play them in Chinese and become a Let's Player in Chinese. That's my insane, crazy type of goal, is to become a Chinese Let's Player, okay? Now, it's an insane goal, but here's the thing, okay? You might be thinking, well, that's way too big. What happens if I never reach it? Well, that doesn't matter. It gives me something to work towards, okay? Even if I fucking only get halfway there, that's still way ahead of where I would have been if I was in just scatterman brain mode, Like, if I just woke up this morning and went, okay, today I'm going to study how to talk with people at a restaurant, and then the next day I woke up and I'm like, oh shit, today I'm going to learn about large language models. Next day I'm like, oh god, okay, today I'm going to talk about Anki and fucking Chinese. It's too scatterbrained, and it's all separate domains of knowledge, and it's all going to utilize different aspects of the language, which means that I'm not going to get good at any of it soon. I may in time if I keep hitting so many different domains, and actually, in fact, in time you will, but if you want to get good at one task and then start using the language for that task, you really got to narrow in. So my crazy goal, okay, we've established, is to become a Let's Play in Chinese. That's the goal, okay? But even that's too big. Now, that is the end goal, but I can't work based off of just the end goal. I need to break this down into mini goals, okay? So what is my mini goal? Now, the end goal is obviously years and years away. well, technically I'm already doing it, but like to be able to just wake up and do video after video, day after day, that's at a whole different level to what I'm capable of doing right now. But let's just say, okay, that is my crazy end goal. 5-year plan, whatever, okay? You know, when you're at the office and they're like, hey, what's your 5-year plan? You're like, fucking to live. Well, in this case, it would be, you know, my 5-year plan is to play fucking video games without even having to study or look up words beforehand or anything. Okay, now that's the 5-year. Well, let's narrow that down to at least a year plan. Give me a year plan to work towards. Well, my year plan, okay, is within a year, I want to be playing World of Warcraft in Chinese and making videos about that. That is my 1-year plan, okay? Now, even that is kind of a crazy goal when you think about it, because if I just went and opened World of Warcraft right now, and I've done this a few times before, and I tried to play, literally every second word I would have to look up, because it uses so much specialized vocabulary around, you know, materials, weapons, friggin', you know, just the way that they speak, because it's kind of like intended to be archaic at different points. There's all sorts of stuff, okay? It's too much to work towards. So if that's my 1-year plan, is to get to World of Warcraft at the end of the year, if I tried to sit down and make a video right now where I'm just, let's say, playing level 1 to 5 in that video game, it would take too long, because I would have to look up everything and it would just ruin the enjoyment of it. So instead of doing that, I need now to break down this plan into a smaller plan. So what does World of Warcraft consist of? It consists of like fantasy. It consists of sci-fi, horror, all these types of, you know, genres. These are all genres that I really enjoy. So instead, what I should do is pick a game that is very, very simple to play and just focus on the vocab I would need for that game. So maybe just a simple, you know, jumps up in your face horror game, okay? That, okay? And by playing that game and learning the vocab I need for that game and practicing it with that game, I just punched the goddamn mic, I'm going to get good at a very, very small select domain of vocab. Okay, now I can then play another game which is similar to the one that I just played, but slightly slightly like different, okay, but introduces something new. And therefore I can reuse what I've learned before, and then I can also start introducing new stuff into my vocab. Now that's a horror game. Let's say I start with a horror game, I move into a second horror game, a third horror game. By that point, at the fifth horror game, I probably know all the vocab and things I'm going to say while playing these types of games, because it's kind of fucking repetitive, okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to step out into a parallel field, maybe sci-fi. I might even go from horror into sci-fi, so like a horror sci-fi game. So I'll have to pick up some sci-fi stuff, and then I'll pick up that. Then I'll move into a fantasy game. And you'll notice that I'm jumping from all these little games, okay, that are covering all these small select domains. Eventually I've covered horror, I've covered fantasy, I've covered sci-fi, I've started covering, you know, hack and slash games, and then, you know, friggin' construction games. By the time I've done all that, I'm probably ready to move on to World of Warcraft. There would be a lot more words, a lot more vocab, a lot more grammar that I would understand. Now, even that transition I know is still going to be big, but at least it will like soften that blow and it will allow me to enjoy and use the language, okay? Now, this is for me, my specific thing, and you might be sitting there going, well, I don't want to be a Let's Player, that's not what I want to do. Well, you could do this same type of thinking with pretty much anything else you want to do in the language, okay? So let's say that you are someone who wants to just watch movies in a language, okay? Now, I'm not going to assume that you're an ALG, you know, automatic growth language growth person. You're someone who's still actively studying the language. Okay, let's assume you want to watch movies. What's your favorite type of movie? What's your end goal type of movie you want to watch? Is it romance movies or sci-fi movies? Okay, let's say it's sci-fi movies. That's your end goal, okay. Why not start then by picking short films in the language about a sci-fi topic, okay? Watch them, sentence mind them, pick up everything you can from them, and then as you're watching them, after you've watched them and you've sentence mind them, try and describe what you're seeing to an invisible friend who's sitting there, okay? Describe everything you see in the scene, describe what they're doing, the actions, describe their emotions, okay? Now, once you've managed to, you know, perfectly describe everything in this short film, and a short film is usually, you know, 15 minutes type of thing, move on to another sci-fi one, and then another one, and another one. And eventually you'll have enough vocab that you'll be able to sit down and watch a long-form sci-fi movie and probably understand at least the good majority of it And yet, if you jumped over to a romance movie or a horror movie or an action movie, you may actually understand very, very little. But the point here is you want to get to a point where you can actively engage and enjoy the language as fast as possible. And the way you need to do that is pick a goal, break it down into sub-goals, and then break those sub-goals down into even smaller, little manageable chunks. It's the same thing with books, okay? You can do the exact same thing with books. If that's your end goal, find a genre, find short stories from that genre, break it down, work it little piece by piece. Now, I know some people, they won't like this because they prefer, variety in their day. They like to jump around and try different things out. If that's you, then that's fine. Just realize at the end of the day, it's going to take you longer to get to enjoying the content of that language because you're now spread across so many different domains. Really try focus in, and then that will allow you to have more stuff later on. Well, that will allow you to have access to more stuff earlier on, as opposed to waiting much, much longer down the line. Because what is the thing that makes us all stop learning a language? It's when we lose interest, okay? So if you can get to a point where you can actually enjoy that language just a bit faster, with at least one specific domain of knowledge, then I recommend you take that. And that's what I'm doing. And for me, it has basically brought back my passion for learning Chinese, okay? Now, I did this with Esperanto. Obviously, I'm not doing this with Spanish, but now that I'm focused on this for Chinese, I can't not sit down and just keep looking at these, like there's one genre of horror games that I'm doing right now because I fucking love the fact that I'm starting to understand everything that's being spoken and I'm able to start to replicate what's happening. Yet you drop me in some other type of game, I'll probably have no clue how to talk. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Sub to the goddamn channel. Otherwise, where the fuck did Elmo go? Elmo, you bitch. Get over here. Threaten him, or I'll fuck you up. Yeah, that's right. You heard it from Elmo.